lipstick on and lipstick. Yep, lipstick looks good today. Alrighty.
I don't think I should have to watch commercials as a mod. I'm just saying.
Well, you know, that's probably a feature that I can enable here. I've got just one more minute to make sure that the printer is doing what it needs to do. For the very first time since last year, June, I think I finally killed one of my original artillery USB sticks. It's only been written to 1,000,000 times since last year.
Was that a goal or?
Well, you know, there's been a lot of people that have been saying that, oh, you know, they're shit, they don't last long, this and that and the other thing, and I haven't had any trouble with them whatsoever. And just randomly today for the, let's see, that's number 3, which that's probably one of the older, yeah, that's one of the older machines. That's, I think, maybe a June machine of last year. So the USB stick on it, I just went to pop it in to run a couple or run a production piece on it for somebody, and it didn't want to read.
A
A
lot of people seem to fry them anyways, though.
The what?
Said a lot of people seem to fry them anyways, though. Right out of the gate. I don't know how. But
I think what happens, I've noticed this with, and this isn't slamming. Hello, everybody. If you're showing up, there's a couple people starting to pop in on the stream and show up here. Hello, hello. We'll wait for a few people. Hey, Roxas. We'll wait for a few more people to show up, and then we'll throw some party favors around and stuff.
Tracy's here.
Yep. Hi, Tracy. Yeah, that was the other thing. That's why I was halfway across the place here. I had to run over to the other machine to check WeChat, and she asked me for the link, so I had to run over there and get it for her and pop it up for her.
Are you a block away from the microphone, or is it?
No, I just don't have it right in my face today.
Okay, because he's really loud, so I have to turn him down. Ed, that is.
I haven't changed anything.
Whoa. No, I'm just asking.
Yeah. No, I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know I haven't changed anything. I moved the mic just a little bit closer to me for a change right now.
I just don't want to get reverb because I have to turn you up to hear you sometimes, and him I got to turn down. It's like.
No, if I had my coffee cup off, you'd see me almost licking the mic right now, but nobody wants to see that. I got to wait for Bullos anyways. Then you guys will see me lick the mic. That's. Well, I put if you notice on your center screen right there, I put a present up for Bullos just for this stream. You see your name there, Ed?
Yeah, I see it.
I was gonna do Gandalf the grape, but I didn't see if you had any grapes over there or not. So it's just like that'll be a wash. I'll change your name after Bullos shows up.
Well, it doesn't matter. I don't care, Dad. No biggie. Although I wouldn't mind having like one of the little banners like Kaz has got.
Well, that's something he did on his end.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I'm tricky.
I have no idea how to do that here at the moment.
I'm running mine through a streamer like XSplit, so I can do my own backgrounds and stuff.
Oh, okay.
He plays with his nipple rings too, so that's exactly. Oh, I'm almost ready to get my face up front here. I had to, at the last minute, change the coffee cups around. I didn't make coffee cups for everybody.
Yeah, I actually have a.
I
actually made a banner for it, but unfortunately, I can't do anything with it.
real quick here. I mean, you guys can see each other, what's going on and everything like that. I'll be on stream in just a second here, folks. I'm here. I'm just away from the one keyboard right now. I'm just finishing up a couple of things at the last minute. Soon, 5 minutes before the stream, my messenger started going off like crazy and everything. I think people do that to me on purpose or something.
Aw.
Well, it's just even there was a message on the channels for last week because we missed our weekly. And as we had some really sketchy internet here for a couple of days, and it just wasn't worth. I didn't want to be right in the middle of a stream and have it die down, and then I think the longest that it stayed off was about 3 or 4 hours. But in light of that, I happened to notice today after I fired stuff up and I was looking at it. Let me show you the leaderboard real quick. People have been busy on the tip side of things.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, that kind of freaked me out a little bit too. I really wasn't expecting that. If anybody that had or is in that donation list, I hope you would speak up and say something. I want to thank you for it. It's just going back towards improving the channels and putting it into a little bit of a pot for some giveaways. I've got some of my merch coming in sometime this week or early next week. I'm going to probably be giving some of that away.
Did you ever get a hold of our last winner?
Yeah, I got his. I got his address, and it was weird. At the last minute, I was getting ready to put the address information in, and the zip code was wrong, and I was like, So he he transposed his zip code and everything. I caught it and everything like that, but he contacted me a little while later and says, "I screwed the zip code up." I said, yeah, I caught it already. Yeah, like I said, I kind of freaked out a little bit because I hadn't even noticed this screen, and as soon as I put the screen up, I seen the tipper list shot way up, and that was all off stream. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Okay, whoever has the bag of chips, you better share them.
Guess who it is?
I already know.
He can only share with you. He's in the next room.
Well, that's like a few 100 feet away, dude.
Hey,
no, it ain't that far.
I mean, I'm gonna have to wait for postage on that one.
Come to the dark side. We have cookies.
Yes, we do.
Alrighty, we'll get going on the topic here in a minute.
I got famous. Yeah.
Just off the top, short daily dose for tonight anyways, nothing spectacular, just some Q&A for the people that show up. Not as big of a party as I wanted to have planned and set up because, like I said, we lost time last week because of the inclement weather and everything. But we are probably, I don't know, last I looked, maybe 5 or 10 users away from 20K users on the 3D Nexus website.
Congratulations.
Well, that's a millstone. That's a millstone for some. My main original site, the university site, I had almost 100,000 on that, and I wish I could have brought those all over. But the 20K is all fresh. Fresh through primarily the building and putting together of the Nexus itself. It's kind of all on its own rather than inviting a bunch of, I mean, there's, I don't know, probably a couple hundred users that came over from the Wanhao University site that, just like a lot of other people, got fed up with Wanhao and decided to move on to bigger and better things. A few of them have bought into artillery and happily working with and playing with the artillery printers. But most of it's been, I'd probably say close to 5K of those users has been just since January. So I'm going to kind of attribute a little bit of that to the C word. Not that I'm worried about monetization or anything like that. And just for monetization's purposes, okay, here's an F-bomb. Fuck off.
Just say see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, I guess.
We should go through an iteration of all the forbidden words of YouTube.
Like a George Carlin thing.
I think COVID-19 is on one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Just right to YouTube for you right there. Done.
Okay, case point. Let me get rid of this here. I guess I can show up. I was hoping Bullis would show up and everything like that, and I could kind of just come right out and say, see, different shirt. I put on a new shirt just for you, Bullis.
What's with the Union Jack?
Why not?
Because you're not British.
Nope, far from it. Well, if you notice, the flag's all ratty and beat up and everything like that, so I'm not going to tell you where it's probably been drugged through. I'm American, 100% American.
America.
Yeah, we need to do shout outs and everything to some of our users who claim their name is censored. Does anybody see Mike Hunt in the room? Does anyone see Mike Hunt? Yeah, I know, Mike. I know you're not. Bullis usually shows up when I just think he's not going to show up, and then he starts giving me shit. Kind of like the forums today. I've been pretty popular over the last few days. But that's how life works.
That's one way to put it.
Not worried about it.
Didn't say you were, just...
So, as far as things going on the Nexus, I finally got off my ass and started filling in some of the blanks that I've been putting off forever. I had mentioned before that I have a few artist friends that are in a different but yet similar community that relates to 3D printing. It's 3D stuff, 3D modelers. A lot of their work appeals more to the people who are doing resin printing and things like that, but there are people that make the attempts and do okay with printing miniatures for gaming and things like that with FDM printers. That was part of one of the arguments earlier today. Anyways, scheduling these guys, and we're going to start filling in the weekly shows. We'll have some visitor nights and things like that where these guys are going to show up. We'll show their work off. I know there's tons of users that have printed and work with their prints. And more than likely, some of them are going to offer up some discounts and things like that. Most of them have Patreons. There's also some larger companies that are almost always doing Kickstarters and things like that. I'll be bringing them in. We'll talk about getting better quality prints out of your FDM printers. And as we... too much LDS in the 60s, man. You need to get one of the anime backgrounds when they're running, when they've got both arms stretched behind them.
Oh, the Naruto run, yeah.
Yeah, like when they're running through the woods or something like that, and they're going through the trees. Yeah.
That reminds me of the like old 50s Popeye cartoons or Betty Boop or something, you know, where everything, nothing is stale,
Whoa.
it's all moving.
Yep. Now, the only thing that will actually get your camera nuked, I'll warn you now, what are those little furry creatures in the last 3 Jedi movies? The little
Oh, the
puppy.
fucking porgs.
Yeah, okay. If anybody comes up with a porg, you're out.
Hell no.
I'll take Jar Jar Binks over a
No,
porg.
you
No, I'm
can't even
saying
go there with that
I will
one.
take Jar Jar Binks.
Nope.
But
No. Compared to
bonus
the porgs, I'll take the Jar Jar.
bonus for anybody that comes up with the Luke filling up his juice jug from the creature
Green
booby.
milk.
Yeah, from the from the creature booby. You get that in the background, I'll take that. So
I don't know. I think I've seen some women down at the Walmart that could probably do as a fill-in actress for that scene. I mean, it's like, damn.
nah, Mike, Ewoks are cool. They were like barely acceptable, and it was the Christmas special for me that kind of made it okay.
Oh my god.
Mainly too because it was just like I had kind of this twisted suspicion that somehow the Wookiees had something to do with those little buggers coming into being, anyways. It's kind of like some of the islands across the pond over there. There's a lot of speculation about uh, you know, how like the Philippine Islands are primarily Spanish. It's kind of like the Hawaiian Islands. There's the Polynesian Islands. They're all over the place. So I just kind of lumped the Wookiees up into that, and the name Ewok is like really close. It's something like, oh, I have no idea who that guy was I met at the bar last night. He was a Waki, a wacky, um, work, Ewok. Yeah, it was an Ewok. Yeah, whatever. So, anyways, some of the other things going on in the Nexus, I'm expanding the sections. I should say opening them up. They've been there for a while. I just haven't made them public yet. For the resin printing side of things, Artillery has mentioned coming out with some new printers this year, and you never know when they're ready to announce it. They may even be doing or working on a resin printer themselves. We'll have to see. Leave it as a surprise. 3D modeling, things of that nature. That's pretty much going to tie all of this together for everybody. I've worked with and been friends with some of the guys in the ZBrush, which is a 3D modeling program community, for a number of years now. Michael Dunham is one. He created a tool that is very useful for 3D modelers. And for some of you people that are into the FDM printers, and as well as, looking at or possibly getting into the resin printers and things like that, one of the next logical steps for some people is, hey, I want to get into modeling and I want to play with modeling and things like that. So we're gonna kind of be bringing all of these communities together. Hi, Len. How's it going today? And in the meantime, give me just a second here. I will be right back. I want to check something, and I need to warm my coffee up.
Warm your coffee up? Really?
Yeah. Well, I've been fighting to get the stream going since 40 minutes ago and everything like that, and I've heated my coffee back up twice, and I haven't touched it, and it's cold again. Don't make me go without my coffee. You guys think I'm an asshole on the forums, just normally? You don't see me with my coffee?
I don't know. So you got the dip out of your Sidewinder. That's good. What did you do? Did you heat cycle it? Put PEI sheet on it?
Proof that Wookiees visited Earth, Sasquatch. Hashtag wondering.
Heat cycling generally does it. I know guys don't believe that, but I tell them all the time, it's like heat cycle your bed first. It probably will get it evened out. I actually installed the 5015 fans over the last couple of days. So
Cool.
yeah, actually, I printed out one of the ducts on my new resin printer too, just for fun. It actually went well, surprisingly.
Alrighty. Well, see, I was hoping if I, I thought if I walked away from the stream for a minute, I was almost positive Bullis would show up.
Yeah, right.
There he is. There he is, not there again.
He's waiting. He's just waiting till you least expect it.
Yeah, this brings up a point. You know, we were talking about dropping F-bombs on the streams and things like that. And earlier today, I was just kind of bouncing around some of the Twitch channels, and there was about
It's about that big, Ed.
There was about 15 or 20.
No, it's let's see if I can zoom that in.
A black square.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's there. We go. Now you can see it. It's an encoder, so you flick the thing and it changes the number. But the pins on the bottom, on normal ones, they're supposed to be in line and in a row, and I couldn't get them to fit into my breadboard here. I was like, why the hell aren't they fitting? And I was just using my calipers here, and I found out that the goddamn rows are actually offset.
You got to put some Dick Electric grease on it and stick it in there. Taz, Taz caught that. Taz caught that. It's kind of a artillery group joke right there.
Yeah, put dielectric grease on everything, my friend.
It's not dialectic, it's dickelectric.
Dickelectric grease.
Dickelectric grease. No, point being though, these other streams that I caught, there was like 4 or 5 of them where these chicks were on there smoking bongs.
Dude, really?
It wasn't tobacco. They were smoking grass on the channel, you know, for just chatting. And I'm like, man, how times have changed.
It is legal in some states.
Well, I suppose, I guess, but as far as, you know, God, the way Twitch used to be, if you even, you know, back in the airbrushing days and stuff like that, when we were doing streams, you know, they had shit conniptions if we smoked cigarettes or smoked cigars on the stream.
They probably still will have a fit if you smoke a cigarette. Why?
But okay, a chick with knockers going down down on a bong, and okay, hey, these happy little. Yeah, I know we got a lot more people watching right now too. Yeah, Summit 1G lost his sponsor to Monster. Well, Puke Joy. It's going to take me a couple of times of saying that without giggling a little bit, okay? the I can see that if you've got like some big name sponsors and things like that, but these are just this one chick had 800 viewers, okay, and they were dropping her tips left and right like crazy, and all she was doing was talking about the blend of herbs she was smoking, and she was kicked back. She didn't even have her toenails painted the right way. Just
You can see her toenails.
she had her feet kicked up in the air. She's in her bedroom, okay.
Oh, okay.
You know, so the whole setting was all set up and everything like that.
Oh, they were probably hoping that by dropping tips, she'd drop something else.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, wait until she smokes a little bit more, man. Yeah.
Oh, she was advertising, you know, hey, tier 3 subscribers that subscribe for $50 or more a month get access to my private Snapchat channel, and so
Yeah, we know what that is.
it's hard to say. I mean,
Well, the first two letters are probably right, or first three, SNA.
yeah, it's kind of hard to say, but
I don't know.
well, we could pronounce, we could pronounce that Phuket, okay?
Okay.
Is the J pronounced with a J or a Y sound? I mean, and like the Mexicans, it's not Jesus, it's Jesus. So would that be Pucahoy?
Well, hey Taz.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just took your hat off.
Was that what's her name from
Mythbusters,
Ghost
yeah.
Mythbusters? Oh my God.
Carrie.
I still remember the first episode when they brought her on just so they could make a cast of her butt. That was the funny part. Yeah, we need to make a cast of your butt so that we can test this myth out about airline toilet seats.
Yeah, that's what it was for.
That's
I
yeah.
was buying that one all the way.
That's like going onto YouTube and the shock of my life. I had a Brazilian wax video come up for suggestion, and
And you just had to watch it, right?
I didn't think it was possible. Okay, of course I clicked on it. Give me a break. But the
Graphic detail.
the thumbnail for the video was the lady in all her pride and glory, and she definitely does not work out.
She was taking care of that fuzzy monster thing,
Yeah. Well, anyways, the thing of it is I expected a little bit more out of Twitch, and then after seeing part of that one stream and kind of shitting my pants over it, I was like, wait a minute, let's look around a little bit. So I just pulled up, for search purposes, just chatting, and I just started scrolling through some pages of just chatting and everything like that, and a little while back when I was reading up on just some of the stuff that's going on with Twitch, I was catching a lot of the gamer guys and everything like that. We'll call them the old guard and everything like that. I guess they've been up in the air about the whole just chatting designation for stream types, because supposedly the just chatting is allowing ladies like that girl, as well as just some other maybe some guy. I don't want to see guys doing the same thing, trust me. Basically taking subscribers away and everything. So yeah. Okay, Earl, so a lot of people are asking on Discord about Clipper. What do you think about it? I've got some extra printers in line here pretty soon, and it has piqued my interest. But with all the stuff that I've got going on right now, it's like I've also I want to get whatever the newest SKR board and 47-inch LCD to slap onto a printer and get it all set up and play with it just for shits and grins.
47-inch?
Sure. Screw these little 3.5 and 4
Hook
point.
up a TV to my printer because I can.
Yeah. Fact of the matter is, though, Clipper interests me. Octoprint doesn't, but I get enough.
I love Octoprint.
I know you do, and I get enough people asking questions about it, so I figured, well, I might as well set it up once so I can at least be relatively fluent in it and answer some questions about it later.
Hey, Len, did you use the code for that? I know I posted it in Facebook and a couple other places. Get your 10% off.
Mr. Joy, Len, and just before I get on to what Mr. Joy brought up, Gizmodorks, one of the primary suppliers of the better PEI sheets for build surfaces that I have listed on the website, gave us a discount code that we can have stream channel users, as well as anybody that we give it to, 10% off discount code. And that will be, Taz, if you want to type that beastie in, it's all uppercase. I haven't ordered any off of Amazon here lately, myself lately. I'm all caught up. Yep, it's 3D Nexus, all one word, all uppercase. I am not aware of or know if it works on Amazon, but if you go directly to their website, their website prices are a little bit cheaper than Amazon already. So it's kind of a win-win. It's kind of like more almost like a 20% off discount if you really want to look at it that way, considering how much the sheets are about maybe $5 cheaper. So, and later on, let me get this beastie pulled up here. A little bit later on, when this comes to fruition, the aluminum bed replacement upgrade. Oh, thanks for following, Mr. Joy. When this plate comes to fruition, more than likely we're going to work in a really deep discount or install the sheets on it for you. So more on that later. I'm not in any rush to get those out. I know some of you guys out there probably are, but I'm strategically waiting just a little while before that's brought to life for everybody there.
Hey, thanks for following there,
yes.
Puke Joy.
And
I'm hesitant to say that name myself.
Back to what Mr. Joy had asked, upgrading the board. Really? If you're doing multicolor prints, it makes doing them a lot easier. One of the more sought after things that some people are wanting to do with the artillery printers is multicolor printing. We had a previous stream on being able, you can do it with any slicer. It's just a pain in the ass for most of them. It's a lot easier to do it with Simplify 3D. You can go back onto the channel. You can go back onto the channel and look that particular stream video up there. I think I did it on a daily, and you can find it pretty easy by just look for the artillery logos. You're going to see green coming through on this, but little artillery logos there. Because of my green screen and everything like that, green kind of goes all the way through.
It's kind of black.
But as far as upgrading the boards go, the first thing some people out there will say, oh, you're going to get better prints. You will not. It does give you more options. It gives you some more flexibility with things you can do while you're printing. It gives you the ability to have more information on the screen if you need it. I mean, for me personally, I set the thing to print and I walk away from it. I don't need to watch it or play with it. Some people are fat-fingered. I have never broken LCD while I was operating it. The only time I've ever broken an LCD is when I've been moving the damn printers, which I don't ever plan on doing that again. You can mess around with some of the newer stepper drivers if you really want to get into altering your printer and maybe do like the sensorless homing and things like that. But again, you're almost getting to the point where if you're going to go that far, to me, instead of shredding up a fully functional printer like, you know, the artilleries, I'd almost rather build a new printer. They're not that hard. I mean,
Yes, I didn't cut my hair. I just put a hat on because it was so humid earlier today that it like got puffy.
I used to be able to do that not too long ago.
Yeah, Mr. Joy, I'm afraid of. I don't want to offend you by. I mean, I don't want to offend you by saying puke joy if it's not pronounced that way. So yeah, if that's okay, I'll just roll with it. But it's kind of a. I don't talk like this on the forums. I usually tear into people, and I'm not worried about offending anybody. But this is a little okay. All right, that's cool.
Is it? No, it is. Okay.
Okay, then I can liken it to somebody who's really happy about being drunk. I mean,
Oh, now you were talking about upgrading the board. Now I did notice some things with my upgrade that I think are better.
okay, what would that be?
It seems to do circles a heck of a lot better. You can say that all you want, but
Yeah, I can say that all I want.
it seems like it runs it as much smoother for me. I don't know why, but it seems that way.
Well, you haven't updated to the better firmware. It has nothing. We've been.
Let's be fair about this. That firmware wasn't out when I swapped.
I know.
So
That's my fault for running the printers completely and totally stock for 9 months.
I mean, so I got better circles out of it. I also didn't get a lot of errors coming back on larger files. It didn't seem to bottleneck and slow down. Because on the 8-bit, I've noticed if I use like an excessively large file or one with a lot of polygons in it, it tends to slow down.
Well, I could run and get you some pretty nasty looking files and everything. I have not seen that to date.
I'm telling you my experiences with the two that I have. And that's why I said it's like, well, I mean, I wasn't convinced it was going to be that big of a difference, and there isn't that big of a difference, in all honesty.
I will say that there are some modelers out there, and this will be a really good subject for some of the 3D modeling videos and things like that. I've noticed there's some pretty shitty models out there that have internal errors, benchy, some pretty shitty 3D models out there that create havoc with the printer. I mean, I've never had one, bog down and die. But okay, the Prusa's, the God, even the Zortax, the Wanhaus, the Ainets, the Getex, the Tivos, and the artilleries, I have never encountered a issue with a model. And before anybody says, well, you just, you ain't been, playing with models that got high poly counts and things like that. I do 3D modeling. If you hit my 3D modeling website, which will be extended through the Nexus here pretty soon, and you'll see this stuff. I got 80 mil polygons. I got 2-point-gig STLs, gig, okay, that have not bogged down the printers. So when that, and this is something that I've never had a chance to just grab people that have had this issue happening and or cared about it really, but no, well, seriously, if you've got files that are doing that, I would love to see them. I would love for you to send me that file so I can look at it and see what it is that is doing that and why, for whatever reason, I've never encountered that. And like I said, I've got some hellacious models that, hang on here, let me.
Well, heck, it's kind of like Angus was showing on one of his videos a while back with the where he took the model and it had overlapping shells and stuff, and the I mean, the slicer looked at it and went, "Wow, what do you want me to do with this?" And I mean, it trashed the model on the printer, and it was like, there was nothing wrong with the printer. The model had the actual issue. When the slicer hit those shells that weren't properly, brought down into the STL file. Hey, the slicer sees something that's on the inside there, and it tries to interpret it as best as it can, and without the proper info, it just goes bluey on you.
What the hell is smoking?
Oh, that's stuff from my soldering iron.
I was just mentioning because you were on fire there for a minute.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Like you're watching, right? There's like smoke coming. I'm like, you're not vaping like I am, and I don't see a cigarette, so I'm like, what the hell is that?
No, it's my soldering iron. I'm working on some various electronic projects and shit like that. So
this is my soldering iron right here.
Mine won't quite reach into the it won't reach into the frame because it's tethered. But
that's why I got the T100 because I got tired of being tethered.
Well, I've got one that I can actually carry around and stuff. It's better on the back. Actually, it might be charged up by now. I have it on the battery charger. It's just one of those ones that just you plug it in and it holds the I don't know, it gives you about maybe a half an hour to an hour worth of soldering before it finally fades out. But
this one you can actually use the RC car packs with this one.
Oh, nice.
So you can just take it still uses a cord, but
yeah, I've got a couple of the of that older
T100.
Is that no? That's the other pack. Let me see here. Got my my little hacker box toolkit thing here. There it is. And this one here it's a USB type one where you can plug it in.
Yeah.
And it's good for small things like old through hole. It can sometimes do surface mount, but trying to get across all the different leads quickly to try and do like a chip or something, it doesn't have the
this will get up to 300C in like 2 seconds.
Well,
and if you put this other software on it, you can go 400, and you can do it all on a 12, 24-volt battery.
Yeah, well, this thing here,
nice.
This one plugs into a standard USB port, so you're talking 5 volts at 500 milliamps. So, maybe on some of the newer ones you might get a full amp out of it or something like that.
That's
so
100. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. But
Mike, that's only because I said T100. It's a TS100. My bad.
Okay. I mean, I've got the hacker boxes thing. I get some pretty cool stuff in my kits and stuff.
Why did your Mike do that?
Do what?
It gets loud like all of a sudden.
It's probably because it's reflecting off. See, the mic is right here. Well, so when I aim down, the voice bounces better into it.
Oh, it just was awkward. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Machine noise too. But
I mean,
we were talking about the boards, which I don't like. I said, I'm not going to say it's bottlenecking on everybody's boards, but I had issues with mine on some files. And then the other thing was, because I'm sure he's listening anyways. I know he's lurking somewhere. But the other thing was you could get more stuff on the chipset, which was nice. So you didn't have to worry about having multiple things like linear advance and the other things not going into the file system.
well, when you're talking about the boards, you're talking about those diode things that they put in front of those steppers.
No, we're talking about the actual main board itself, the 32-bit main boards.
Oh, okay.
I mean, for the price of them, I mean, you're gonna, it's actually cheaper than half of the actual existing boards they sell. So that's where I'm at with it. I mean, you spend $18 for like MKS Gen L board, or you could spend $21 for the S Gen L and has 32-bit. So then you don't have to worry about being stuck at 119 for your firmware. You can actually go past that and use the 2.0 and up. That's another significant reason that I did it.
Well,
Because originally Fenn didn't have the 119 that he coded and fixed, where it had things I'd want to do. So,
I got to look at it this way, okay? People are always, oh yeah, get the newer one, get the newer one, get the new. We've been doing beautiful prints with the original equipment, an 8-bit board, and we get great prints, no problems, and everything else. And it's like, hey, this is a first generation screwdriver. You know what? The damn thing still freaking works and does what I need it to do. I don't need
Get him a grape. Get him a grape.
Everything.
Hurry up, throw him a grape.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
I get it.
The point is if it works fine with your printer, why are you so damned worried about getting the 32-bit one?
Well,
get the whole new
wasn't.
system with the 32.
What mine started out with, the whole upgrading process started out with, was I went to try and do a 2-color system, and the M600 didn't work. That's what started me off on my whole adventure.
I'm not into editing G-code files or anything like that. To me, that's bullshit. Okay, some of the alternative methods that people have come up with for pulling it off, because this feature is lacking realistically, and I do not want artillery to be pigeonholed, and they've already put 32-bit on the table. Okay, that's all I can tell you about that right now. But for right now, as it is, if they're going
to use the same freaking screen, it ain't going to make a bit of difference.
I agree. That's also another thing that's on the table too. But if the claim is better prints, I won't agree with that. Like I said,
I didn't make that claim.
Oh, I know you did. I know you haven't.
I said it seemed like the circles were a bit more circle. I mean, they seem to perform better.
Well, you smoke a lot too, so
of everything that I print, if that's the only performance increase, okay.
He drinks a lot and plays with his nipples. That's why that banner's there, guys. So I'm just not afraid of showing people when I do it. That's all. But
and I never recommended it to somebody brand new that you need to do this. I'm just saying I did it. My personal reason was I couldn't get the M600 to work, and I don't want to sit and babysit a print, especially a long one, to get my second color in, which I think is horseshit. That's just me.
Well, the thing I suppose there are probably ways. I mean, there are other 8-bit printers that accept that M600 command.
Right.
Okay, so to
It was
me,
just a TFT's touchscreen. No, I understand that. But I was in the process of upgrading that anyways.
yeah,
And I looked and I'm like, well, I'm upgrading the screen. It was like maybe for the entire get up another $20. Why not? That's where I was at with it. It was like I'm already messing inside and taking stuff apart.
yeah, I was just going
I'm
to
gonna have
say,
to play
Ed,
with firmware.
you coughed yourself into fuzziness right there.
Yes,
And
I
then the other
noticed.
thing I like about the newer boards, besides that, is the MKS Gen L board. You have to flash it USB all the time. The SKR and the new MKS S Gen L
There we go.
have the micro SD card, which you can just put your hex file on that and
Yes.
flash it, so you don't screw up your USB and you don't have all these freaking compiling error problems or communication error problems that you would normally have.
Yeah, Roxas, towards the end of the week, as a lot of you regulars noticed, we missed the last couple of streams last week because of internet issues we were having here, weather related. The stuff is all pretty much done. I just want to double check it and finalize it on one of the newer machines that I got in. Even though I know they're going to be okay, I just want to double check them. I'll get them out probably, let's see, today's Monday, probably Wednesday, Thursday, or worst case scenario, I'll make a commitment to it and I'll see to it that I get that stuff out for the stream on Friday. Yeah, and also, can't remember. Someone was also wanting. There's also a red and a green version coming out for that too, and I'm gonna try to get that all zipped up all at once.
I don't know. Is my mic dropping again?
If
No,
Taz,
it pulses really loud every now and then.
If
You'll be
Taz's
talking
mic-
and all of a sudden it's
if Ta-
really
if-
loud and then back.
if Taz's mic is dropping, it means Bolus is showing up. I'll pick on him because he's not here right now. Len, the pallet company, the Moisac company, is just north of us here, and one of my other partners in crime that hardly shows up anymore, he's like right in their neck of the woods. I've seen them. I've played a little bit with them, not enough to consider myself, fluent with them or anything like that. His take on it, it took him a long time to refine it and get it to the point where he could consider it able to do what he wanted it to do when he wanted it to do, if that makes sense. I mean, that's kind of a weird way of saying it.
Not to mention the freaking purge towers that those things create still.
That's kind of the other.
I mean, you're making a print and then your purge tower is more filament than
Yeah.
actual print. There's a problem.
And
Not for the pallet.
Yeah, for the palette.
No, the pallet's feeding the bright colors
It
in the
still
thing.
has
There's
to
no real-
purge.
yeah, it still has a purge tower that it does.
Trust me, I was looking at it pretty close because I like doing multicolor projects, but you still have to purge it even because you're running a filament, so it's going to run into the next color even if it splices in the middle.
They were claiming, and I'll see about getting the pallet guys to show up. They're just a phone call away, and they expressed interest. I actually had a pallet section on the 3D Nexus all last year, and nobody showed any interest in it or anything like that, so I took it out. But
Well, I mean, you're talking $5. I mean, I could buy 2 more printers for that kind of money.
Well, to a certain extent, the pallet is another printer.
or for $5 you can get a multi-extruder
Right.
printer.
That's
these
my
days.
thinking. It's like I could get a machine. I could get a tool switcher for almost that money.
Yeah, Mike, I'm a painter. I have as many colors as I want on a print. So
I mean,
You know.
I like the neatness of like doing a dual color print or a triple color print on layers or what have you. But if I have to paint it, oh well. I'd rather just paint it because half the time between, like I said, between the purge tower and how expensive that piece of equipment is, it just isn't worth it in my mind.
And I'll agree with that because, I mean, really, if you're making some kind of a part that may be outside for any reason, or in direct sunlight and stuff, you're actually better off painting the darn thing just to protect it from UV and stuff.
Right.
So, when it comes down to that, tossing a nice little thin base coat helps to fill in the valleys, in between each one of the layers and stuff. It fills it in a little bit better and gives you a nice surface to put paint on. And then you can use it wherever you want, whether it's inside, outside, in direct sunlight or something like that.
Whoa.
And then you don't have to worry about getting all kinds of different colors and stuff too. You just, there you go. Standard gray.
Whoa. I'm sorry, I'm kind of freaking out. This is yellow. And it's actually doing the whole...
Oh, it's ghosting a little bit.
Can give you X-ray views of prints. Oh, gotta
I'm
cover up his
touch
little
of green in there then.
cover up his little winky right there. Well, okay, it doesn't bother. I can't really bother showing you that one right there, but just touching base real quick before I forget, so I can get this shit out of my way here. Here's a smaller piece that I usually do on. I do multis of this on the bed. And if you notice, there are hundreds of circles. There are hundreds.
Can't really see it. It's still too far away.
Well, for you, you're in the other room.
Well, no, I mean,
Saying that
it's too far away from the camera. To see
stutter
the
on
circles.
circles, it would take its time. It just didn't seem as neat. I mean,
Yeah, well, this indirectly relational to circles, not as much, but I'm also saying in addition to the circles, this is also a very high poly count model right here. Okay, and I got a whole bed filled up with the things. Okay, and I print these things day in and day out. Speed-wise or anything like that, I mean, if it is slowing down, I wouldn't notice it. But, okay, I have had people actually say, I mean, here's even you can probably see it if you look the right way. You see all those little mushroom tips and everything like that? When it gets down and starts printing all these little fungi tips and everything like that, the printer's knocking itself out going back and forth. And when there's 12 of these on a build plate, okay, it ends up being, I think the STL, because what I do, I'll take the whole build plate because I print this stuff on a regular basis. I'll drop them all in place and then save all of them as a single STL. Okay, so it makes it easier for me for saying, okay, I got to get plate number 5 up, for the mushroom terrain. To say, for example, I got to, print 2 plates of two number 5 plates up. These files are huge, and the only time that I ever had an issue with what I would consider a print bogging the printer down was more than likely a failure on the part of the SD card. On the Prusas, we use the standard size SD cards, and you can use up to some pretty huge SD cards on those. I had an SD card that was taking a shit over time that just wasn't reading reliably, but that was pretty much the only time. Yeah, okay. Hey, Neptune. Like I said, it's been a long time since I even bothered looking at the Palette 2S and the Pro S. They were claiming a while back that they were supposed to be coming up with a better way to reduce. Now, the word that was used with me was dramatically, the purge operation. They were going to be decreasing that. Are they working that in, or have they claimed that that's some kind of an improvement that they've done or something like that?
I mean, I know that some of the guys were having to reinstall everything and do the upgrade by themselves. It and I'm not sure what the gain was on that one, but that seemed kind of complicated too. I was like, for that kind of money,
Well, there's a Prusa has their MMU thing for their Prusas and everything like that, and that's a tinker toy. And Joseph, I don't mean that in a bad way, but
it's a solution, I suppose.
it's a solution. But to me, it was something that just the way it's done, it's just never going to be refined. There's guys that are claiming that they have no problems with it or anything like that, but I don't see too many of those, and haven't. And the MMU's been out for 2015, I think. 2015,
Like I said, I'm not
2016.
bagging on it. I just, to me, if I have to print something and I have to waste as much filament on purging it and as the print I want, it's kind of defeated.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not, and to be fair, I'm not a multicolor print dude. It was hard enough getting me to. It was
That's why
hard.
you give me crap about changing the screen and everything, right?
Well, to me, and it's probably the way I approach and I look at FDM anyways. Because I do a lot of stuff with the resin printers and things like that too. It is even more so shown me the limitations of FDM printing. That for somebody who works with jewelry, very high detail jewelry, or jewelry that needs to be dimensionally accurate, like when I'm doing like archaeological reproductions and things like that. There's too many variables with FDM, and when you're bringing this over or translating this over to what's that?
Listen, I have a top of the line mic, so I don't know what the problem is. I don't want to hear it.
Okay. I'm not messing with anything.
Now, Mike's messing with me in chat.
Well,
You give me shit about not the Palette 2 Pro, and the same as getting a mic, right?
well,
No, I got great mics. I don't know what the problem is. It could be the sound card in my computer, but I doubt it.
for all
Brand
you
freaking new.
for all you guys out there, since we changed software that we're using for multi-windowing and everything like that, on my end, I don't see the problem happening with him as often. It's only happened a couple of times, and it's usually but we usually get that all hammered out before we start the stream, anyways. But I haven't noticed you going in and out on my end here, and I
I
watch.
mean, it could be just the way it's putting a stream through. I mean, you are the person that's encoding it, so you're going to have the better.
Yeah.
So you and Ed are going to be okay, and I'm going to get the shaft. It's how it works. I get it.
Yeah, let's blame it on that. All it takes is once. One little pinhole in the end of that bugger, and you're a daddy. So, for some of the newer people that are watching, in case you missed it earlier, part of the reason for the daily dose today is we're just shy of 20K users on the 3D Nexus website. Thank you guys. If any of you people that are on the site have recently or ever contributed to that. Some of the other things too, I'm finally able to devote some time to dropping in some of the other interest areas on the site. It's been there all along. I just haven't gotten off my ass and put it in. I've been too busy with all these other things relating to artillery and stuff like that. We're going to be bringing together 3D modeling, airbrushing, believe it or not, finishing your prints, actually doing things with your prints as opposed to just printing fucking benchies all day. And
I want to do bed level tests all day. That's my favorite.
Jeez.
Len, I'll check your. I think I remember seeing your name earlier today, but I'll check it again.
There's a guy on Discord that's been like doing level tests for like a week now. I'm like, you ever gonna print something?
Yeah.
I mean, he's checking all the corners. It's like by the time you get this thing dialed in, you're not going to want to print anymore. You're taking all the fun out of it.
Yeah, I am not belittling anybody out there that has trouble with their printers. Okay, don't take this wrong, but something has to be up when a 10-year-old kid can get a printer and with minimal instruction be told to set the printer up this way, do this and do this, and when the kid starts getting good prints out the door, there has to be something wrong between me, you, him, or whatever God's favor the little punk has. Okay, it was brought up that, and it makes sense because I've given people this advice too, and other things in life. Little kids, they're not scared of anything. They just dive right in and do it. And usually when little kids don't know what they're doing, they always look to somebody to kind of give them instruction, and they usually do their best to follow it to the T. And if they're ever hesitant, they don't stop doing it. They don't, they don't get jittery. They don't need coffee. Shouldn't give them coffee anyways. But they just dive right in and do it without thinking twice. And that also applies to being given instruction for doing it. There are people, that they get bad printers. I mean, it doesn't matter what manufacturer that you have. You'll get a dud printer. I seen earlier today a guy got a printer and he was all happy and raring to go with it and everything like that. And when he finally got it slapped on the table and everything like that, he had a big chip in the build plate. It's not gonna hurt him printing or anything like that out the door, but that's still kind of, that sort of thing does happen.
It's going to deflate your sales a bit. In other words,
well, to me,
it's gonna upset you, not like, I didn't mean like say, I mean like deflate your sails, like you're not going to catch wind as a sailor. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, my first thing was like, well, yeah. If that sort of thing happens too often, of course it's going to deflate sales. I mean, look at the TiVo printers. The let's see, that's the Tarantula Pro or the Tornado.
Right, but what I was saying, I wasn't going that way. I was talking about discouraging a person.
Yeah, I know. But okay, if that sort of thing does happen too long, enough people are going to talk, and then that also will affect sales. That will deflate sales too that way.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. Okay, Len. Yeah, Len, I was pretty sure I saw your name. Sometimes I get 50 people a day, 100 people a day registering on the site, and I used to check it every few hours, but here lately with some of the other stuff that I'm doing, I've only been able to pretty much check the new user requests and everything maybe two, 3 times a day, really spread out over about a 12 or 18 hour period. So worst case scenario is if any of you are waiting on approval on the website, if it goes any longer than a day, there is something wrong. The only time the system will shit can your application is if you are using an email address that is already blocked in the system, or you are trying to access the site from Antarctica. So, yeah, I've banned all of those fuckers down there.
What's up, Grumpy?
Hey, Grumpy. Hey, your stuff went out, but it's just like I've already found with the U.S. mail. It's been really effing late. A package that I was supposed to receive in 3 or 4 days took almost 7. So it's on its way. It's coming. Just be.
They still charge you for that too, them bastards.
Yeah, hey, thank you for winning. I mean, I know that might sound kind of weird, but no, that's. We'll do another one here pretty soon. I've got some other things that I want to get offered up and some other kind of announcements that I really can't say just yet. Maybe hopefully by this weekend. I got a couple of meetings to get in on first. So on and so forth. Oh, I think somebody might have heard me. Hang on, I'll be right back. I gotta go check my WeChat. I'll be right back. That'd be cool.
Yes, thanks for losing.
Yeah. Thanks for being a loser, Mike.
You're one of the best losers we have.
Ow.
Oh, shit. I don't know. You guys got me sidetracked tonight. I don't know. Not that I'm ever on point, but
Shall we use the term squirrel?
well, we range subjects sometimes, and it's hard for me. I mean, I have to deal with it all day with my wife, and it's hard for me to range subjects. I'd like to stay focused.
Yeah, well, stuff happens. Eh?
I don't know. I got to keep my Prime account. I don't care. Eventually, it's going to come back around, and you'll get your stuff normally. And actually, I'll be honest. I'm kind of spoiled because I live pretty close to a couple of the actual main distribution centers, so I get a little bit lucky on a lot of stuff. Unless it's something that's obscure and like out of stock everywhere. If it's a general item, I can usually get it pretty quick. Yeah, I love when they decide to reroute your packages. I watch mine come all the way from the East Coast, go to the West Coast, and for some reason, most of my packages want to live in California for some reason. They all go to the city of industry, and then they disappear for months. I'm not even kidding. I used to have all kinds of stuff, and it would go from off the East Coast, and for some reason, it would go right over Chicago and go to California, and then I get lost in the city industry. Just taking a trip.
And Taz is the last one seated.
Yep. Someone's got to keep this thing running, right?
Actually, I just decided to mess with Mike just because he had to do it.
I don't know. Like I said, he wants to get mad about 32-bit boards, but like I said, he didn't have 119 out when I did this whole little project, so I was kind of stuck. And I like 2-color printing or more, depending on what I'm doing. But I mean, obviously, you're stuck to layers, anyways, though. I mean, unless you're gonna like slice something and do individual files, still you're still kind of stuck with different layers. I just didn't like the fact that I had to sit and wait and watch my prints. I don't want to babysit them. I'd rather just program it in, walk away, and it'd start yelling at me to come back. Because now I got a 2-color print. I get a notification on my phone, tells me, hey, printer's ready for your next color. That's what I like about Octoprint. I don't have to wait for the thing to beep at me. It'll actually notify me on my phone and tell me, hey, something's up with your printer. I mean, you can do 2 colors with the basic screen manually, which then you get the oozing on your print because you're pausing. I like when it just takes the carrier off the print, puts it off to the side, do a purge. You don't waste as much filament, hit resume, and go right back to printing your next color.
Well, you know, for instance, if you know how high, who is it? Make Anything. I mean, he's been doing that stuff with multicolor prints where he goes in there and he does the print of a layer and stuff like that, and then he'll stop at a specific layer, and then he'll do a new print basically stacked right on top of it that
Right.
starts at that next layer height, so it just lays it right down. So it stops the print over to the side, he cleans the thing out, and then he just starts the new print, and it automatically, it says, okay, I need to move up Z to, such and such a height, and then start printing. And it prints it just like it would be printing on the bed. As
Right.
long as you know what the layer height is off the your last layer, you can do it. And he does lots of stuff like that. And even Earl's done stuff like that. It's where it gets difficult is when you're trying to do different colors in different areas that may or may not be where you want to go back and do some other layer, and both are in the same area, because the nozzle, you might be able to get like 2 or 3 layers difference between one section and another and be able to fill in, until it gets even, and then maybe go 3 layers higher, and then you have to go back to the other color and do it. So, I mean, doing a true multicolor print in that fashion would be a lot more difficult. But
Well, see, the thing is like Len's talking about, yes, there's an option in Cura. Unfortunately, your current TFT touchscreen is going to block the M600 commands, is what I'm talking about. So unless you have a basic LCD or a dual LCD TFT, it's going to get blocked. So the stock artillery touchscreen blocks those commands. So you can't get pause at height. You can't get M600 where it does the filament swap. And if you're using like a USB, you can do a pause manually, but it's not going to stop at a certain layer height like it does with Cura, or a couple other slicers. You can set it up that way. It skips over that command completely. So that's why I bothered to upgrade both my printers, because I didn't like having to sit and babysit my printer.
Well, now, is that actually in the TFT or is that in the base software?
It's in the TFT, so it isn't Artillery's fault. It's actually, excuse me, MakerBase designed the TFT. It's about 2 years old now. It has been a problem since day one. And they've been saying, oh, we're going to fix it in the firmware. We're going to fix it in the firmware. It'll be fixed. It hasn't been fixed in the last 2 years. Now we're going on 2.5. So it's just like the screen's kind of done. They're not putting no more money into it. You know that already. I mean, it's already been designed. They put it out. They sold a bunch, and they're not going to fix it because they're moving on to other stuff.
I have to ask Earl when he gets back.
I'm back.
Here.
What's up?
Well, we were talking about the M600 command, and that Taz was saying that it stops the M600 command or doesn't work with the M600 command in the touch screen. So it's not in the actual software, it's through the touch screen. And I was wondering, is that something that we could maybe address?
The way I had it explained to me was it's the main board.
Who explained that to you?
The engineer who designed the printer.
Yeah, it's the main board on a TFT, not the main board. It has nothing to do with the MKS board.
No. The printer board. I'm assuming that's what he meant.
You're talking about the TFT board?
No.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Okay, you have the printer main board, or we'll call it the printer motherboard.
Right.
And then you have the TFT, which also has a board.
Its own board. Right.
The communication protocols between the two, and it actually has something to do with the filament runout. Okay, and originally I brought up, it's like, well, if it has something to do with the filament runout, Why can't we cheat and tell the printer that the filament ran out,
Right.
okay, with a command? And I basically got some shoulder shrugging, and I'm going to attribute maybe some of that. Let me get my mic going here. I think maybe some of that might be attributed to maybe a little bit of a communication issue.
Well, that's the biggest problem. It's a communication error, but
Well,
it's actually on the TFT side.
Well, I'm
because-
talking his understanding of what I was trying to ask him what we could do.
Okay.
Okay, so so we're getting hit in from two different directions with that possibly thing, and it was he basically said with the hardware that they're using, it wasn't possible.
Right.
Okay, so trying to beat ourselves up, trying to get it put in there. Okay, artillery is not. I do not foresee them. I really can't say either way. They're not looking at making a whole brand new set of boards for the printers. They're working on new printers right now.
Right.
And in their view, the printers are working fine as they are. You got to remember, too, and this brings a little bit of the community attitude up. The people that we have on the Facebook groups, specifically on the groups, they're not a rare breed. I mean, they're just about in every other printer group on there. But the culture, everybody wants to play with the printers. Everybody wants to try something new. Everybody wants to do something different and everything like that. And there's a point where once a printer is released, it's very difficult for a company to justify monetarily backwards upgrades, upgrading backwards. There's a point where it's just not economically feasible. It's actually better to come out with another printer. Yes, it means buying another printer, in the future. But the other thing, too, is their target market early on. They broke some ground with these designs to begin with, and I'm going to say that I consider that a oversight. To sit down when you're looking at putting one of these printers together, that is a kind of a big thing. Once you've got all your stuff done and everything like that, I don't know. I don't think I've known anybody out there that hasn't at least thought about. Not necessarily tried, but thought about, hey, I'd like to try a multicolor print. I mean, that was one of the first things my kid asked me was about, doing multicolor prints and stuff like that. Okay, but he's already, at 10 years old, he's already fluent with Simplify 3D. So he's like, well, I'll just do it with that, and he doesn't care. But,
well, it's not the point. And I'm not saying they have to remake the printer. I'm saying on the new ones, they need to get rid of that stupid TFT screen because that's the whole root of the fucking problem.
See, and that's where I disagree.
No, you can't disagree when it's an actual fact, and it's actually on their website for MakerBase where the screen's from.
Yeah, the MakerBase has been saying they were going to fix that thing for like years now.
I mean, it's the actual fact that's the problem is the TFT screen. It's nothing else.
Well, okay, let me finish this. This thing here, this is the TFT freaking screen with the touch screen. It is a keyboard and a display. It's a monitor and a keyboard. That's all the fuck it is. It does not do anything else. It transfers back and forth. The main board on the actual printer, that's the one that's running the G code. That's the one that's going to recognize the M600 and operate it from.
It can't recognize the M600 if the board is actually blocking communication on that level.
Well, the thing is in the software, if it's not, the same G code is not enabled throughout all of the different systems.
Right.
If you go to the actual Marlin page, it'll show you this G code here is operative on this one, Sailfin and Marlin and something else, but it's not implemented on these other codes. And you can add and subtract those at any time. And since those are the actual places where those commands are running is on the motherboard, All the TFT does is say, do this or not, and it displays what it has been doing. So that's why I'm sitting here going, wait a minute. The keyboard, it only controls your computer, and you give it an input as to what you want, and then the computer is what's actually executing it. So yeah,
Okay,
there may be some kind of a
thing.
communication
If I can
breakdown.
I'm just going to explain it really simple for you. If I take an Ender 3 LCD and plug it into the MKS board, which I did on my system behind me here, it does the M600 commands no problem. Put the TFT back on, no dice. So tell me it's the main board.
Hey, Tracy, welcome back.
Oh, this ain't done. I'm going to research.
I
understand what you're saying. I just don't quite.
No,
there's something.
I thought it was weird too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to beat you over the head with it. I'm just telling you flat out that they've been working on it since they put it out and have yet to solve it. And I don't know what it is. And it's just unfortunate it wound up on this system.
And in all due honesty, I really don't feel that they care. If it's gone this long, they don't care. They've got, and
they get new products out, so they don't give a care. And that's just unfortunate. Like I said, I just was not aware when I went and did this that it was going to be a problem, because you're so used to doing it on other systems.
Yeah.
And you got a new printer and you're like, hey, I should be able to do this. And all of a sudden nothing happened. And then is it my fault? I mean, I spent hours trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. And that's it ain't going to make or break my printer. Don't get me wrong.
Well, and
it just encouraged me to upgrade because of that.
Artillery has, they've taken all this feedback and everything like that. And the next batch of projects that they're working on, we're going to see probably some of this stuff involved with it. I talk with the developers every once in a while. I will be more very soon here. From what I can say, some of these issues that people have been complaining about, it looks to me like they're going to be going away. It doesn't mean a new printer or another printer. Yeah. They haven't said specifically if they're going to, do anything backwards or not. I wouldn't expect them to.
I don't expect them to do that at all, honestly. I'm going to be honest. I don't, it's not a big issue for everybody. It's just some people that would like to do it. And you think you did something wrong when you're slicing and it's not your fault. And then it's just confusing. That's all. I wasn't nitpicking, and I'm just saying that this is the reason.
Well, Facebook and confusion kind of goes hand in hand anyways. It makes the most intelligent of us stupid.
Well, it's just...
I spend an hour on it every day, and I feel really dumb.
Well, it's because some people on there drag us down to their level and beat us with experience.
So,
or lack thereof, they're not conceited, they're convinced. It's just the way life is, I guess.
Yeah. Well, when I say experience, yeah, it's not experience in a good fashion,
right?
It's
like I said, I beat myself because I actually have another screen that's the same type of screen, and I had put it on an upgrade on one of my other printers that I have. I have an Ender 3 that I upgraded. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out why it was a problem, because it worked fine on the other one. Never had an issue. And then I upgraded this one. I shouldn't have a problem, right? So, I spent weeks researching of why this didn't work, and no one had the right answer other than it was that actual screen and something with the way the software was with the communications on it. So that's where I lost it. I was like, man, that's just a shame.
Well, the engineer reassured me that all of this stuff is being taken into consideration and looked at. And like I said, for those of us who have printers going all the way back to the version 1s and everything like that, we can't really expect everything.
But your version 1 can do 2 color. That's all I'm saying.
Well, wait. Are you saying the version 1 of the artilleries?
No, I'm talking about your other printers.
I'm talking about. Oh well, yeah. All my other the artilleries are the only one that can't do multicolor because of that M600. Okay,
Well, no, I can still do it. I mean, it's just you have to work around harder to get there. That's my only thing. I mean, you have to put in a lot. I mean, when you're talking from a standpoint of somebody who these guys that buy these now think you should be able to use it like a paper printer. I mean, you've seen it posted a million times.
No, they expect a Star Trek fucking replicator.
Right, and I don't expect that, and I'm a bit more well-rounded with it. But I was just shocked when I ran into that issue, and it was like, okay, why? And then I understand why, but it's hard when you tell somebody, oh, you can't do this, but you can do it this way. They can't operate the printer half the time. You're going to tell them how to slice 3 different files to get what they want?
Len, I got to throw this in because Len asked. Artillery has already said that they're going to be releasing around 3 printers, or hope to release about 3 printers this year. We'll give you more information as that becomes available, so stay tuned. Oh, there goes my pinging again. That might be something good. I'll be right back again.
I think that was me.
No, I can see it here. I just
okay, because I just had something on Instagram.
I got notifications on my phone, but rather than having them ping up and wake my little doggy up here and freak her out, my dog, for some goofy reason, every time there's a notification on my phone, she has PTSD from living in Hawaii.
Okay.
They love their fireworks there year around.
Yes. They love them here too.
Well, I'm from Detroit, okay? So gunfire is fireworks to me daily. Okay, Hawaii bothered me a lot.
I mean, I'm kind of used to semi-automatic gunfire too. I'm going to admit I'm on the south side, so.
If there was ever anything in my life that brought me very close to an edge to where I would consider myself racist towards anything, now you notice I didn't say anybody, racist towards anything, it would be fireworks. Only because of what it did to my dog. I mean, she's an older dog. She's 14 years old now. And growing up and everything, I lived out in the woods. I had tons of acreage to play on. I was out hunting all the time. She was on my shoulder, between my legs, with me, shotguns going off and everything like that. Never a problem. A couple of years of living in Hawaii and everything like that. If there's even a small bacon pop from when you're frying bacon and everything like that, it sets her off. And for some goofy reason, like I said, the phone does it to her too, so I always have it on vibrate or visual notification. But anyways, let me get that. I'll be right back. Be nice, you guys. Don't beat each other up.
Oh, we're just having a discussion. And like I said, I was mad too because I couldn't wrap my head around it initially. And I was like, well, and I got the same answer from somebody before. It told me it was my motherboard. And that's why I kind of got adamant about it. It's not the motherboard. Nothing to do with it.
I think what the engineer was trying to say to me, was because of the combination that they used. Okay, like I said, the guy doesn't speak hardly any English, and he has to use a translator to talk to me. Okay, so I'm going to assume that he either misunderstood specifically what I was asking. I didn't get anywhere, but again, for whatever reason, the choice that they made for the combination just ain't going to let it happen.
Right. Well, that's why I said there's no way to fix it. I seen people posting it there. Oh, we're working on a firmware that's going to fix it, and it's like, no, they're not going to fix it. Sorry, guys.
There's already been some users too that have said, well, I'll just fix it in the firmware, and I kind of laughed my ass off at them. It's like, okay,
it's like, hey, if you do it, I'll sign up for it. I'll even pay for it.
Well, it's been probably back when this subject was hot, back about October and November last year. I've still been waiting for a response. So I doubt it's ever going to fucking happen. I'll be right back.
Right? I just, like I said, I laugh when they like, oh, we're going to fix it in firmware. No, you're not. You're not going to code any better than the engineers at artillery. I'm sorry.
M600, Marlin, Rep, Smoothie, Prusa, MK4 Duo. Doesn't it?
If you want, I could supply you with the link to the actual whole thing on that.
Yes, please.
Later on, I'll send it to you later on. I got a bookmarked because I was fighting with it.
Because that piques my curiosity, because the way that, and maybe it's just my understanding of how, I don't know as well as far as artillery. Mine is more generic knowledge from having worked with G-code for like 30 years,
No, I understand. And like I said, I wasn't trying to discredit you at all. I'm just saying that it isn't the main board. It's something the way the main board communicates with the TFT that blocks it. It's not even artillery's fault. It's the designer of the actual screen. They did something weird and they can't get rid of it even with firmware, and I don't know why. I mean, I'm not a coder. I don't even pretend to be a coder.
Well, it's like, okay, I use, for instance, G13, and I use a couple of other specialized keyboards, like gaming keyboards, if you want to call them that. And sometimes they'll have additional codes in there. And one of the projects that I was looking into, and it's going to be a long ongoing project, but there's a particular processor called the Teensy, and it literally is teensy. I mean, this isn't a specific Teensy, but this is about the size of the Teensy board. It's tiny, but it has the capability of performing as either a keyboard or a mouse or both. So it can give you all of the aspects of a controller, and you just program what you want each thing to do, and you hook up a bunch of buttons and you can make it do whatever you want. And the idea was, okay, the codes that you're using to go back and forth with that, the G13 has that as well. It has 2 bits of code, one that sits actually on the keyboard thing, and then there's the receiving portion, and it just sits there and sends the information, and then from that point in the computer, it tells the computer, what did the keyboard say? It's kind of like the old Go Gophers cartoon thing, what him say? Oh, him say, go down to creek and play with something, and all you'd hear would be, so it's like, it's a translator between the two. And so I'm like, okay, if the TFT screen is basically, it's displaying something from the computer or from the motherboard, it's displaying the status, and then what buttons you press tells the motherboard to do certain actions. So it's like, okay, this is a display like a monitor and a keyboard or mouse, touch mouse type thing. So it's like, okay, what can it be doing or missing that would cause the M600 command, which is, it's enabled in Marlin, Marlin, Rep firmware, Repetier, Smoothie, Prusa, MK4 Duo. It's enabled in all of those things. So it's like, what could be doing that? And the only thing I can think of is it's trying to send something to the whatever firmware is in the TFT, and it's not acknowledging it, and so it loses its mind because it never gets the feedback from the TFT.
And what it is, like I said, once in a while, and it was wild because I've done it on a couple of different printers playing with it, and once in a while it'll somewhat recognize it for half a second, and it'll park the carriage, and then it'll go right back to going, and it won't even stop. It's something in it, it gets blocked, and I don't understand why. I don't know the whole dynamic of it, because like I said, I'm not a coder by any stretch of the imagination.
Your mother
I know enough to code my printer out of existence. That's probably about the best way.
Yeah, I could recognize some of the code, especially when it deals with the G code. I could recognize what the G codes are doing, and I'm getting better with the with the Arduino IDE type thing for looking at the actual firmware type code. And back when I first got into when I got my first Hectop FDM printer, oh my God, that thing was anyway. But one of the things I did was I first looked into Marlin, and I was like, okay, what is Marlin doing? So I started reading the code and learning about what it was doing and stuff, and all the little sub libraries and everything else, going back and forth, checking the configs and the parameters. And it's like, I can sort of recognize it as I'm going through the code, even though I don't consider myself to be like, a coder. I can't even imagine trying to put that whole thing together. But then again, with as much time as they, had and spent on it over the years, refining it, no wonder I'm kind of sitting there going, damn.
So as Grandpa Sodi said, your mother had the tongue of a trout.
Yeah, something like that. But I looked through the stuff and I could kind of recognize what a lot of the stuff is that it's doing. When it goes off into some esoteric mumbo jumbo stuff, it's like, okay, it's doing this, and which is going to cause the printer to do this other thing. So I'd like to see the differences between the Marlin and the TFT software, just for the hell of it. Now with all this stuff, I'm curious. I'm like,
well, one of the other guys brought up Clipper too.
yeah, and there's one thing, the M600. When I looking at the thing for what G code is supported, Clipper is basically an unknown. It's not specifically a no, but the way that it shows on the site here is a not suspected to do it. Marlin, RepRap, Smoothie, Prusa, MK4 Duo, all of those are good solid yeses, and they give the reasons why. There's a couple of good solid no's, like Sprinter, BFB, 5D, Machine Kit, Teacup, and Yaskawa do not support the M600. But there's a couple, Repetier, Clipper, MakerBot, Redeem, and Gerbil, that are question marks, but then they have the little notation numbers in there for if there's something additional to be said about it. And the notation that it has here is that for Clipper, it is not known whether Clipper actually supports the M600 code, but currently
Kiefer, we already established that earlier and already said that we already know that it's the MKS firmware. The funny thing about that is, as Taz said, they've been claiming that for how long now? So don't hold your breath.
On 2.5 years.
And I really don't think that they give two shits about it, to be honest with you, because the TFT that we are playing with right now, everybody's wanting bigger TFTs. I really don't think that they're. I don't think they're gonna. I'm not gonna hold my breath on it.
I wouldn't want a bigger one, anyways. I don't think I need a bigger one.
I don't either. I'm perfectly fine with how it is.
I mean, think about how many people have broken the small one that we got.
Ow!
Let's make it bigger, like guys like him. Anyway.
Yeah, dude, your mic blasted all of us that time. So, on that note, let me throw this up real quick here.
Throw it up.
But yeah, like I said, Kiefer, we've already established that earlier in the discussion and everything like that. We know that that's what it is.
I know for a fact.
For others that are newer to the stream or just had been popping into the stream here, the main topic early on had been the 20K user millstone on 3D Nexus. Woohoo! I just wanted to throw the leaderboard up here because people have been going crazy dropping tips for over the last week now. If any of you guys that are on that list are watching, appreciate that. It's all going back towards the stream, and for merch giveaways and stuff like that. Yeah, Grumpy, as far as the user base or the user list on the website goes, I've never really cared that much about it. It's always been kind of a repository for me for information. It's only over the last 4 or 5 months that I decided to open it up and expand on it a little bit more and kind of draw a little bit more into the community aspect of it. The site itself and everything, I do all the work myself. I don't hire somebody out to do it. I don't go out and just get, pre-made software packages and shit like that and throw the stuff up. All that stuff is done in the background, and I'm only one guy. So some improvements that are going to be coming up, you'll notice, especially over the next week or so, there's going to be a lot more areas opening up. Some of them have been in existence for a while already. I just haven't enabled them or made them visible to the public. Because you got to understand, it isn't just the Nexus that I handle. I have 2 other additional full-blown websites that relate to the 3D modeling that I do, as well as the archaeological research and my semi-private journalistic writing and stuff like that.
Mechanical keyboard? What the hell is that?
It sounds like a mechanical keyboard.
Yeah.
I thought the mice were chewing on my wires or something. What the hell?
All right, guys. Anyways, let's get us back to our main screen here. I'm surprised Bolus hasn't shown up. But, okay, he's usually around on Wednesdays or Fridays, so...
Yeah, probably one of them off days for him. Probably not expecting us to be on.
Or he'll show up just as we're getting ready to sign off and then complain. And the first thing he's going to ask is, well, how many times has Earl been gone?
Remember to check out Earl's merch.
I had yours on there too, didn't I?
I think so. I wasn't looking. I wasn't really paying attention. You just haven't mentioned it today, so I was helping you.
Well, do your I do have some of my merch coming in, so I'll be able to hopefully I'll be able to show it off Friday.
I got my coffee cup, my sticker.
You got them handy there?
My mouse pad. My mouse pad. I already got dirty too.
Yeah, I was going to say you got a hash mark on it already.
That's from the resin printer.
Oh, that brings up something else too.
I inadvertently dropped my part on it. And...
People have been wondering that know my other sites and everything like that. They've been asking when I'm going to cut loose with all of the resin stuff on the Nexus. That's one of the other things that's getting put in. I only mess with resin on purpose, usually in the late spring on through the summer, and then I shut down towards fall. Mainly because I like opening windows, and I don't like too much of the stink.
Dude, you got 10,000 square feet.
The stuff still smells. It doesn't mean I like having my face in it.
But you have 10,000 square feet.
8,000 actually.
Well, suck it up, Buttercup. Come on.
Hey, you've got a dog too. You know when a dog farts in the room, okay, it goes everywhere. Resin printers are the same thing. They can get stinky, and it's not just one, okay?
Oh, I know. I'm just teasing you.
Yeah, when you got 6 or 8 of them going all the time and everything like that, it gets a little crazy.
Just trying to see how far I can push you today.
Oh, dude, the goofballs on the Facebook groups have already got me primed. I'm getting ready to go visit people at their houses, man. Anyways,
well, it's your firmware that's screwing everything up. We know this.
Yeah, it's always the firmware, those damn profiles that never work for anybody. Also, too, I'm hoping, I'm not going to put Tracy on the spot or anything like that, too, but we got some pretty cool things for artillery coming up pretty soon that we'll be able to let you guys in on. And it's really exciting for artillery, and it will be very exciting for everyone else out there. It's going to be a really good year. So this thing that we got going on worldwide and everything like that, it's not going to last forever.
Just because those of us that are impatient are still impatient.
You can ask I get them anyways. I think it was Len that asked about something new coming out and everything like that. I get asked that 20 or 30 times a day. Still, I expected when this whole COVID thing reared its ugly head full blown and everything like that, I expected my PMs and everything like that to like massively increase and everything like that. And no, it's about the same, but I still get maybe somewhere around about 100 a day. I try to answer them all, and I do miss some of them and everything like that, but usually anybody that's gotten a message from me, I usually apologize and let them know why. So I have to sleep sometimes too, folks. 4 hours doesn't always do it.
Sleep is overrated.
Well, for somebody who is normally used to doing, pulling 16 and 18-hour days for most of their life and everything like that, as you get a little bit older, it starts catching up with you. So
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I had 12-hour shifts at my job, so I know.
Well, how are they doing for lockdown out your way? Are they still like crazy lockdown and everything?
Our governor's still kind of a moron, but that's nothing new.
I'm hearing that about every state out there.
I still don't get it. I'm sorry, but all the small things are locked down, but you can still go to a big box store. I'm seeing a problem with this.
Yeah, and all the politicians and everything like that. We're not going to go political with this or anything, but all the politicians, they're still flying back and forth. They're still having their meetings, and they're still vacationing and doing all their stuff out there. So
that's my,
I'm a Michigan guy, so the whole story that's been out there in the world over what's been going on in Michigan and Lansing, the capital, and everything over the last couple of weeks, I'm kind of majorly, woohoo about that. Those are my peeps, man. Don't take no shit. So, off of that, before I say something that'll get me labeled right up there with Ted Nugent, which I don't care. Let's see. Bullos, you're making me upset, man. I was expecting you to show up. I got a new shirt on for you today, man. I finally changed my clothes. I even washed my armpits, man. And you failed me. Maybe if he catches the stream later, if he happens on that little snippet, I'm sorry. So, what else we got?
I don't know.
We got debates. We got debates for days.
Oh, okay. I'll pull one up. I'll get this one out of the way. Have you guys been noticing over the last week or two, 3 at most, some of the other printer companies are all now... I'm sorry, I'm trying not to bust out laughing. They're all kind of coming up with their live stream shows now and everything.
Yep.
And for anybody that picks up on this and everything like that, ditch the fucking masks. Okay? You guys are working together and everything like that, and if you're in that close proximity, you're already infected. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Just get it, become immune to it, and get away from it, because there's nothing more distracting than talking to a white-robed Antifa warrior. So,
there you go, Len. Those are the settings I use for that. I never noticed. I mean, I do use your profiles on there, but I never really noticed. I change numbers around anyway, so.
The profiles that now, if he's talking about the Cura profiles, those are just base, kind of
Right.
in between Pet G profiles because I had to make a choice. I mean, I've got a lot of the different filaments that are in that list here, but for as many versions as Cura has put my ass through since 4.21, I am not wasting fucking filament on testing all of those profiles. I do the basic ones and everything like that, and I look at the numbers. I just kind of go through the whole list, and if they look relatively right, there's not a whole lot that you do have to change. And as Taz actually just showed you right there, that's probably pretty average. Personally, my the Pet G that I run, I only run one brand of Pet G because I'm used to it. It works great, and it's never disappointed me. Is eSun. eSun Plus for PLA, but the eSun Pet G, I love it. It's always worked great. I had it recommended to me back when I was running Prusas all the time, and when I started working with the other printer brands and everything like that, I saw no reason to change. Nothing's different here. The eSun Pet G, I can drop down to about 230, and if it's really hot in the summertime, which ambient temperature may or may not have anything to do with that, but it seems like I can drop it down to about 227, 228 and not have any issues. And the bed, yeah, the bed's always got to be kicked up just a little bit. So,
Yeah. If he's using the standard bed, you're gonna want to put something like a barrier on it. So like some hairspray or some glue stick.
Len, I haven't tried the Overture PLA. Yeah, I can't say enough relatively good about that stuff, especially the black.
White sucks. White sucks too.
Me and white filament don't get along as it is, and I think my first couple of rolls of PLA that I just threw out because and it was just white. The stuff stunk. It stunk like it was mixed with something, and for all, hey, Barney's blood, trademark that bitch. Hang on here. Dun dun dun. The yeah, that stuff right there. Put that stuff over your plate. I haven't done because I swap my plates out right away on the printers I get here. I haven't tried Pet G on the glass, or I should say the composite glass. I mean, I've run Pet G on regular glass before, but on the composite,
It works okay on Ultra Base. I still would put. I mean, honestly, I'd use a coating of hairspray on it because I don't think the glue's going to do that well.
you like smelling like old ladies, anyways.
No, it's actually unscented. I use the Aquanet unscented stuff, but I do a dusting of that on my Ultra Bases because if you don't, you're going to be trying to pick that out for days.
Hang on just for one sec here. Let me get that just so we can show it off here, anyways.
More or less just watering down the purple glue sticks is Barney's blood. So mix it with some water. What Fen does is he puts it in a mason jar and just dissolves it, like the whole stick in a thing of water inside a mason jar, and then makes it Barney's blood. Everybody left me.
No, not really. I just had to walk about 20, 30 feet away. Okay.
I felt so all alone.
Water washable glue stick, Elmer's, the
Purple stuff.
purple stuff.
Which for some reason, when I showed it off on my camera, it looked like blue, but
Yeah. The what I do with that stuff is I'll take a whole stick of that stuff. I do buy it in bulk. just to have it on hand. But I'll take a whole stick of that stuff and I'll microwave. You know, you can do it on your stove if you don't want to microwave it, but I'll microwave about a cup of water, and I'll drop the whole contents of the glue stick right into that cup of water and melt it. Turn it into a liquid that you can brush on using makeup brushes, or you get those, I think, do they call those chip brushes, even the foam ones?
Yeah.
You guys know the brushes I'm talking about, the cheapy
The
foam.
foam chip ones, yeah.
Yeah, the foam chip brushes, those work great for it.
Look like a little wedge.
Yeah. Yep, you just use
Be a
that on it.
descriptor for you.
And if you're running PET G or PLA for that matter, I mean, if I'm doing like a small print, you know, something tiny, and if I'm doing something crazy that I want to have stand up just to prove that I'm an asshole and I can make a really thin piece stand up without falling over, you know, I'll just run the glue stick across where I know the model's going to drop down at. But otherwise, you just brush that over the plate, and the nice thing about it is once the print's finished, you just wipe it off with a microcloth that's
Not really thick.
no,
Just a thin coat.
it doesn't. That's why I watered it down, because you know, back in the early Prusa days and everything like that, before I decided to get around that, trying to run a glue stick. They have big monster ones. I've seen them every once in a while that are like 3 times the size.
Yep.
Okay, don't. Because in the summertime, when it gets hot, and if you just happen to be, you know, doing production printing or something like that, and you're running that across the bed, if you ever had some of that shit fall out, I had a whole half of one of those things actually, because of how hot it was in the studio at the time. It actually, the whole half of the stick dropped out onto the print bed, and the print bed was already preheated up to like 80. So it
That
just,
was a mess.
yeah, it made a little bit of a mess. And Len, you just, as far as regular glue stick goes, if you, when you're running your lines on the bed and everything like that, you should almost hardly see it. Okay, you don't want it. It doesn't need to be thick at all. As far as the Barney blood itself, like I said, just taking an actual cup, I measure it out in a measuring cup and I microwave it, you know, for a couple of minutes and heat it up. And I'll take a whole glue stick and I'll drop that in it, and you just brush that stuff on once. You run the brush over it. Do your best to make sure you're not pooling it or anything like that. And usually, because I'm doing things kind of in a hurry at that stage, I kind of have a system, you know, of when I put the stuff on and everything like that. The bed's already preheated, and it's usually right at that point between when you hit print and things are heating up and everything like that. I'll pull the plate out and run that stuff across, and you don't pool it or anything like that. You'll be surprised how little of it you'll use. That 1 cup of the stuff, let's see, 1, 2, on average maybe 6 or 8 printers running all the time. I've had that stuff last a couple of weeks, you know, and that's doing a lot of printing day in and day out. If you're not doing nowhere near as much of that amount of printing, it's going to last a long time. Yeah, there isn't any reason it wouldn't work on the stock plate. I've got a couple of them here and everything like that, and just like I said,
And you're gonna want it, because, like I said, you don't want that to go onto a regular plate, because you're gonna wind up trying to dig that stuff out for days.
yeah,
Even with acetone, you're gonna be struggling to get that out of the little porous microfibers in there. It's a nightmare.
I'm not a fan.
Don't ask me how that mistake happened. I don't know.
I'm not a fan of that build plate surface, and it's not because it doesn't work. It does work well and everything like that, but if you're, for whatever reason, if you forget, and it does happen, I've seen everybody here do it. That includes, that's everybody on video. Forget to put something down for PEI, and then when you try to get that shit off, especially with PEI, if anything, if that stuff has anything that you could consider a nemesis, it's mixing PEI with PETG. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not fun. See, I would think you'd have ABS as a bigger problem than PETG or PETG, however you want to say it.
Well, funny enough, ABS pops right off of the PEI. You know, funny enough, just like PLA, I just this
I still put something down trying to avoid the warping.
happy little, see-through print that you guys can only see, whatever. This has got a very large flat base on it and everything like that. And it's not ABS, it's PLA, but I mean, that pops right off. Now, I've done similar prints with, large flat surface on them with ABS, and a couple of times I had to kind of get a little cranky with it, but the stuff still pops right off. ABS, it probably wouldn't hurt if you're having trouble getting the stuff off or anything like that. Just like we recommend with the PLA, heat the bed back up, cycle it back up to hot and cold again. Because your print, if it's been on a bed that's been hot while it's printing and everything like that, you've got temperature that's already worked itself up through the whole print, and to some degree the print's already kind of expanded at the base. But after it's been cooled off and everything like that, if you ramp up the temperature of the print right away and everything like that, it's that coefficient of expansion that will help you get your print right off of the bed. Oh, come on, people. Hang on. I'll be right back again. Hopefully this is the last time.
It's just time for Bullis to come in.
Yeah, tell Bullis that I haven't been on the whole time. You guys have been waiting for me to come back like the whole time.
Oh, I got my battery soldering iron here, so it's not much, but it works pretty good for doing the heavier soldering that I sometimes do. Of course, I got an actual professional one over at my specific desk. But,
yeah, I have the whole setup. I just, like I said, I went to the TS100 because I got different printers, and I always wind up having to do something on the printer, and I don't want to have to take it off.
Yeah, well, that's what I got.
I do a quick solder with this guy, and it's done. It ramps up the temp in 2 or 3 seconds. It's great. I want to say it's better than my actual Weller, which is surprising. Weller's using an older where it's the PID loop is going for a specific setting, right?
So it's ramping up, and it's not on like that one there. It's probably just, hey, I'm set to this temperature, so it just boom runs it up, and that's it. Whereas some of these other ones, this is another one that's the same way. Yeah,
they cycle up, and I get it. I just, like I said, I just happen to enjoy it because I was like, it's so much more portable and easier. I wind up using it more than I use my actual soldering station.
I just, like I say, I use this one here. It's a fairly decent size, hold on to and everything. But when I'm doing something that away from my actual electronics bench, like I'm doing right now at my computer desk, I do the gaming and stuff from here. So I don't want to have a whole bunch of stuff like that. My desk is cluttered enough as it is.
Yeah, I can barely find anything on my desk. I'll admit that one.
But my
daughter's got a new kitten who found my desk entirely adventuresome.
Oh God, cats!
I thought it was great.
Look at all these electronic things, and when I bat them, there's wires sticking out.
And his favorite spot as I was on the computer was laying on top of my hand on the mouse. I don't know why, but he thought that was great.
Yeah, I'm just glad in that regard that we don't have any cats here.
I broke down. They're my girls, so they ask for things, and it's like, yeah, okay.
Well,
even if she's 21, she's still okay.
Well, like I say, you have a little bit different situation. I'm a little bit beyond that myself. So, all of my, mine are all grown, gone, doing their own things and stuff like that. So, and when I came up here, it's like, all right, well, we have the dog, and dog's enough. We don't need to have some cat scrambling around up here. And with all the electronics and other things like that cats would just love to get their butts into.
Yep.
Oh my gosh!
I tried talking her out of it, but it was just like I just lost the battle.
Well, I mean, to a certain extent, this place here has become a gigantic man cave in that regard. All the stuff over the years, oh yeah, I'd like to have a place where I could do, woodworking here and metalwork over there, and play with leather or plastics and stuff. We have it here. It's like got
My kind of place. I got to come visit.
Yeah. Well, we got we have the 3D printing lab, which is pretty good sized room with all the printers all arrayed around, and those are just the production ones that we're using all the time. We've got other printers that are like here, there, and everywhere, stashed away, like my old Hicktop that I was mentioning earlier. That was my first printer coming into the thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, there's the Prusa, there's the Ultimaker, all the different brands that were around, back in like, what was that, 2012, 2011? Somewhere in that time frame.
He's been doing it a bit longer than me, yes.
Yeah. Well, see, the
I
thing
couldn't
is,
afford it.
Well, part of my stuff is being, with the robotics and automation, I dealt with CNC machinery a lot. And 3D printing has been around for a long time.
Yeah, it has.
But it's always been, cheap
Never
printer
been attainable for most people.
A cheap printer was like $50K. And it's like, yeah, that's way out of my range. I could get a house for that.
And they weren't even good.
Well, so. They some of them were better than others. For instance, on the resin side, the Autodesk ones, which later become the Form Labs, those weren't too bad. I mean, they did a pretty decent job. But this was another thing where the technology was very specific and very expensive.
Right.
And once it finally, once the patent finally ran out, that's when the explosion. Well, I shouldn't say that's when the RepRap group started up, and they started playing around with trying to make this thing work on a cheap basis. And yeah, watching some of that, I was avidly reading their forums and posts and stuff about different things, and it was cool. It was really cool watching, as they came up with new things. But again, way out of my range. I didn't have the, at that point I was, had the family, and they were all, kids going to school and everything like that. And it's like, that would be a great hobby, but I can't afford to get into this right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was originally doing my own casting and stuff, because I couldn't afford a 3D printer. I mean, if I had technology like this
back then, man,
it'd be well advanced.
But it was really cool in a way, because I got to watch what was going on, and get a hold of this piece and that piece. My first stepper motors were scarfed out of printers, actual printers, like dot matrix and laser printers.
I stole
and
mine
stuff
from
like
a scanner.
Yeah, or scanners. You grab parts from wherever you could get them. The rails, the first rails that I was playing with were scanner rails for keeping everything aligned and everything.
I tried making one out of conduit, believe it or not. It worked halfway for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Then it failed miserably afterwards, but it was fun. Thankfully, I never recorded any of that stuff, so there's no video.
Oh yeah, we got away with a lot there. A lot of the things we did were before everybody had a video cam to catch your stupid adventures. Yeah,
but yeah, because
that's what we'll call
even like my laser printer. I mean, that was big money back when I got it, and now they're selling them for pennies. It's like, wow.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do, 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 do.
But,
And he's back, maybe.
Yeah. Well, like I
I
said,
just see a coffee cup, so I don't know.
well, no, I'm gonna be making some studio changes here, so I can center the camera and have two monitors, one on the left and the right, so I can at least look directly at people more often.
Yeah, Len, I actually save my profiles when I change stuff because I'll change I'll turn off the brims, I'll turn off all the build plate adhesion stuff. And I set my fans and I set my retractions a little different for different filaments. So I'll save my own personal profiles with those using the basis of the 3DN ones, but I'll save my own versions of them just so I can pull them up quick and not have to worry about, did I miss a setting? Because sometimes you're bouncing between filaments and it's like, oh, did I just slice the wrong? Yeah, I did. I got to go back. Okay. It's just easier. You just click on it and go. So yeah, it's always good to make a copy of a setting that works for you and keep it. Name it something you're going to realize what it is and roll with it.
well, in some ways, that's the best thing to do with your filaments. You know, if you're not
Cure is
gonna,
really easy though. I hate to interrupt, but Cure is really easy. You just actually click on the right next to the profile. There's a little star. You can click right on that, and then you can save it and name it whatever you want. So it's really easy. You don't have to go looking around hunting through menus.
Yeah, you don't have to start from scratch, and we actually recommend that you start with profiles that are working. And
Right.
with the filaments, sometimes it's just changing bed temperature and filament temperature. I get away with that more often than I'd like to admit. It's not as hard. I mean, these profiles and everything like that, anybody can, do them and everything like that. I'm just self-abusive when it comes to testing this stuff and throwing it out there for everybody else to use.
Well,
It's
you had reasons to test it too. So
it's supposed to save time.
I mean, you're running a bunch of different prints for a bunch of different people, so
Yeah.
you have the necessity of going through those settings and making sure they work.
I can't-
Whereas
Yeah,
a normal user is going to be like, okay, I'm making a part for my, I don't know, my whatever my project is. day.
repeatability. One of these days,
Right.
one of these days, I'll show everybody the clipboards. I'm not a fan. I got to throw this in there. I'm not a fan of orange. Okay.
No one really knows the truth that you're actually a Prusa fanboy.
Oh, I admit that I'm a Prusa fanboy. I just don't like their newer printers. They just with any other company, yeah, you need to come out with new printers every now and then and everything like that. But I didn't see a whole lot of value in the changes. And if there's anything that I'd consider a little bit more groundbreaking, and I cringe, at the mention of it, is their Mini. And not because of what it is. I can't stand the fact that it's a Bowden, for one. That me and Bowden.
Tiny. I mean,
It's they finally got around to the 32-bit board, and all of the other tweaks that they did with it. That to me,
still costs more than an Ender.
Creality, I'll say it again, fuck Creality.
I'm just saying. I mean,
I'm just
if
saying.
if you can't beat the price of an Ender with that printer, there's something wrong. I don't care what you're doing. You're doing something wrong.
I'm grinning, but I can't tell you why. I'm just going to leave it at that. So, on to some other things, and let me grab a few of the new people that showed up. The main topic of the stream tonight has primarily been just a big thank you to everybody out there that's been participating. 3D Nexus hit 20K users, or is like right on the edge of that. I haven't looked. Last I looked, we only had like 10 or 15 to go. Anybody that's been participating and helping out with that, I appreciate that. I want to throw the leaderboard up again real quick. I don't know if anybody has subscribed or dropped any tips for coffee since I was gone again.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I didn't see nothing pop.
Yeah, some of you people out there have been going really crazy with the tips and stuff like that, and that's always appreciated. It's all getting put directly back towards giveaways and stuff like that. So keep it up if you want to. I'm not begging for anything like that. I'm not even really asking for it or anything, but that is there, and that's just going to allow me to do some more stuff for you guys. So again, thank you very much for that. I have a lot of. It wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't fun. And some of the upcoming changes to the stream, even we're going to be breaking the stream out and hopefully streaming. While I'd love to say that I wouldn't mind doing it every day, it ain't going to happen every day. But realistically, I'm looking at least getting 3 or 4 regular scheduled stream times set up every week, because the variations to the stream, it's not going to be just artillery 3D printing. There's going to be the 3D modeling. There's going to be I do a lot of airbrushing and painting and things like that that indirectly pertain to 3D printing and stuff like that, as well as resin printing. That's all going to be kind of coming to fruition and being part of the channel. There's a lot of you guys that are in the artillery groups that have asked me recently with the new or expanded popularity of the resin printers out there. I'm going to give you my takes on some of the brands that are out there. Some of them I'm going to just come right out and say are shit. And not only will I say that, I'll tell you why. Whoa, hi doggy. That's my dog telling me that I'm talking too much. Wow. Remember that bomb you had last week? Or was that a week and a half ago, Taz? I think I got one too. Wow. You guys might even be able to hear her in the background there. So,
I'm going to blame Ed, but that's just me.
Nah. No, if me or Ed do it, okay, people next door give us a phone call and they say, is everything all right up there? Yep, we're still alive. But on the Nexus website too, that's going to be expanding as well. There's going to be a lot more areas for you guys to have fun with. And you FDM people, if you're considering looking at resin printing and things like that, it's not as scary as it sounds. Just like any other shop tool, or I don't like using the word hobby. You know, you guys might call it hobby, but these are tools. They have some very specific safety precautions and things like that. We're going to get into all that, so you guys will kind of have that information at your fingertips and make some decisions whether or not you're going to want to get into that. And you never know, you might learn something new, or you might find something else that your significant others, wives, girlfriends, or whoever will get upset at you for spending more money on. I'm hoping by the end of the week, I'm going to kind of show off some of the other stream boards that we're going to have, some of the other stream screens and things like that. I've been working on that stuff in the background, but I've got some artillery related stuff that I've got to get finished up earlier this week, so keep your fingers crossed. We're well over we're almost right at 2.5 hours, and this is kind of extended for a daily dose, which is normally only about 2 hours, but we've been having some fun. I think we're going to shut down here unless you guys got something else to bring into the mix.
Mine can wait for next time. I'm good.
Yeah. Ed, you got anything there?
Yeah, Len. I think I bought a second one like a week after I bought an Ender. I bought another one because I was so like impatient. And then the artillery came out and I just couldn't not get one. So I got 2.
I got a hold of the early Ender 3. And I had a 5 that I didn't even take out of the box. I just got rid of it because of the issues I had with the enders. Now I'm one of those people that got one, and I found everything wrong with it under the sun out of the box. And it was like, okay, even though this was relatively inexpensive and everything like that, this is not. This was at the time, again, it was an early one, so I'll give them the benefit of that doubt. This was not a retail printer that they should be selling somebody. So after that, and I had gotten another one that I had sent my son. You know, he at the time he was only 8, and it was basically the same issue right out of the box. And this was after it went full blown retail and everything like that. And it's like, you know, I'm not going to fuck around with this. This is 2018 ish. Is it 27, 2018? It was right around there. Maybe it might have been halfway through 2018. It's just like, you know, we're advanced enough in this tech and everything like that. These printers should not require this much work out of the box. Okay.
Because mine don't even look like Enders anymore. I did so much work on them, it's not even funny. But I did learn a lot. It's where all these mistakes that you're going to make that I can tell you about, that's where I learned them from originally.
Yeah, you know, as a matter of fact, one of the only fights I got into, one of the only long distance fights I got into was my kids screaming at me because, Dad, it's not working. This is not right. It won't do what you're telling me it's supposed to do. And the concentric wheels on the X gantry of that thing, okay, they were stripped out of the box.
Oh,
He got pissed off, and he like, okay, this was over Skype, and he just shoved the thing right up into the camera, and he's wiggling it like this, and he said, Dad, it won't tighten up. He goes, look. And then when he finally turned it around and I could get him calmed down enough and got in close, you could actually see that the things were locked down as far as they were going to go in the holes.
were widened.
Yeah, and this was out of the box, and he did not do that. Okay, I was, you know, with him visually the whole time, and I'm like, you know, what the fuck? This is a retail printer and everything like that. And one of the only times, you know, that I communicated with an Amazon seller and everything like that, I dropped a couple pages of F-bombs and everything like that, and they tried saying, well, we're going to just send you a new print. I said, I don't want a new printer. It's just coming back to you guys. Well, you know, we have, I go, no, I have Amazon Prime. I'm giving you guys feedback without, you know, dropping the bombs on Amazon. So, you know, just take that to heart and take that into consideration and everything like that. And I'm sure they've probably made improvements and things like that since then and everything like that, but it was enough of a bad situation on my part, not just once, not just twice, and then later on I had customers bring me their printers, you know, without knowing what the printers were that they were bringing me. As soon as they walked in the door with them, I'm like, oh shit. My recommendation, and I had a little sign on my clipboard and everything like that I lifted up, and I just come right out and it said, buy another printer. So I need to buy a whole new printer? I go, just yeah, there's other brands out there. Yeah, Len, it was a little bit crazy.
Well, I'm gonna say I got into it when they had the Pro, and that's the first one I got, and it wasn't horrible. It just wasn't the way I wanted to print.
Well, the first one that I got was the early one, and it wasn't a Pro, but the one I sent to my kid was a Pro.
Yeah.
And I got it through Amazon and everything, and I was just like, I'm not going to have any of the trouble that I, you know, had with mine. You know, it can't be, you know, whatever. There just might be a little bit of something. You know, we'll just walk through it step by step. And you know, he wasn't new to putting this stuff together. I mean, he had already been working with some of the Wanhaus that I sent him when I was with the Wanhao company. So yeah, he's already knew his way around the printers and things like that. But yeah, that was one of the only fights I've ever had with my kid, and it was over a damn 3D printer. So
it just doesn't work. God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was proud of him. It's like, yeah, you stand up to your old man, tell him what his shit is. So,
Like I said, I still use both my pros, but they're not really enders anymore because I've upgraded the boards. I've upgraded all the ancillaries of it. So, but they work well.
well, okay, folks. I think yeah, we're right at 2.5 hours right now. So I think
We
we're gonna,
exhausted it all.
pardon?
So we exhausted it all.
Yeah. Um, good stream tonight, everybody. Hopefully, if everything works out, we'll be back to our regular daily dose schedule for Wednesday this week at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And uh, this week's stream on, oh, I went the whole night without even realizing I didn't change the date on the stream. Sorry about that.
Oops.
That's last minute stuff going on right there. I
Oh, it does
changed.
say 5. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the 18th, which is today. Well, normally that's where I announce what.
It was the 511 instead of the 411. That's all.
Yeah. Anyways, this week's stream, the regular stream on Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the subject will be announced early, just not today. I'm waiting on a little bit of information from artillery to come through, and hopefully that's going to dictate a little bit more about what's going on with the stream this coming weekend. If not, we'll do something funky. Since, like I said, I pointed out earlier in the stream, I noticed on Twitch that there are a lot of streamers and things like that are getting away with bloody murder, from everything from, doing their toenails in lingerie to smoking bongs and things like that. So some of the crap that we might pull off and everything like that, we can make it a little bit more fun for everybody too. And Wednesday, I'm hoping to be able to show you guys, for the daily anyway, some of the new stuff on the Nexus website and also the new stuff I got planned for the stream. We'll go from there. Unless you guys got anything else, I think we're going to consider that it. I appreciate everybody showing up. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the subscribes. And thanks for the tips that are floating in out there. I didn't expect that, and appreciating that. I hope we continue to do things that make it worth you doing that for us. We'll go from there.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.